We all love a legendary comeback, and Degree Original Cool Rush is back and better than ever. Cool Rush isn't just a scent, it's a movement, a fan favorite that delivers bold, fresh vibes and all-day sweat protection. Whether you have a man that spends hours in the gym, heads into the office early, or is just trying to stay fresh on a long day, Cool Rush has their back. Head to your local Walmart or Target and grab Degree Cool Rush, the fan favorite scent from the world's #1 antiperspirant brand.
I turned off news altogether.
I hate to say it, but I don't trust much of anything.
It's the rage bait.
It feels like it's trying to divide people.
If we got clear facts, maybe we can calm down a little.
NBC News brings you clear reporting. Let's meet at the facts. Let's move forward from there. NBC News, reporting for America.
Parenting is harder than it's ever been. Not only are we managing our careers and households, we're overseeing virtual classes and homeschooling, or worrying about our kids when they're at school during this pandemic. We're all trying our best to bring normalcy and enrichment back into their lives. That's why I want to tell you about a new brand for kids that's providing experiential fashion and is making parenting fun again. It's called Living Loudly. First, you log on to the website, livingloudly.com, and select from a variety of t-shirts that have characters on them like Everett the elephant or Trevor the tiger. Made from a bamboo and organic cotton blend, the tees are super soft and retain their shape and color. That means they don't shrink in the wash. Then your child will receive a colorful capsule delivered to your doorstep. Along with their t-shirt is a story about the character to spark their imagination and a secret paper airplane hidden in every graphic. Wait, there's more. The stories are written on seed paper that you can rip up into little pieces and plant in potting soil. Now your kids can enjoy a fun science experiment and tend to their very own garden of wildflowers. You can save the capsule to collect small toys or recycle it because it's 100% biodegradable. To recap, your kids will love reading the story, planting the wildflowers, and rocking their new t-shirt. Now that's so sustainable and oh so fun. Buy one, get one 30% off with my promo code MOMSENSE30 in all caps. Your adventure awaits.
These women were so different than us. They lived in these huts. Every single aspect of their life was different, except the way that they cared for their children and the love that they had for their children and this journey of motherhood. And yes, it's still very, very different, but we wanted to find a way to connect and show that, like, yes, we're all different, but we all have the same values and want the same things for our children.
As moms, we often wonder, am I doing enough for my kids? I'm here to tell you, you are super mama. That's because we have an undeniable superpower, our intuition, and it never steers us wrong. I call it our mom sense. Hi, I'm Kanika Chadda Gupta, and I'm the host of That's Total Mom Sense. I'm a journalist, entrepreneur, wife, and mom of 3, twins plus 1. Now, if I had $1 every time I heard, gee, you have your hands full. On my podcast, I interview influential moms from various industries and cover topics that all first-time parents grapple with, from getting your baby to sleep to screen time allowance, your new normal in your marriage, and how to dedicate time to yourself. Learn and laugh along with That's Total Mom Sense.
Hello, tribe. Can you believe we have made it through 2020? Yeah, I can't either. This year has really put us through the ringer, especially my fellow moms, because we've had to juggle so much more than we usually do with our careers and managing the household and homeschooling our kids who had to make it work without being in school for such a long period of time. And, you know, many of you still have your children learning remotely. And it breaks my heart to think that that's how kids had to, be educated during this time. We've been through really just hell and back with not being able to see our family and friends and, Zoom family gatherings and holidays. and grieving loss. I have many friends who lost their parents, whether it was, to another illness or to COVID. Many of us had COVID and have recovered. It's really eye-opening to think all that we endured in 2020, but I think we can all agree that the silver lining has been our resilience. We made it through. On this episode, I am really excited to share a story of a woman who really embodies what resilience is about. Her name is Marissa Goldstein, and she's the founder and CEO of Rafi Nova. And get this, she has 2 sets of twins. I have 1 set and then 1 more. It's a handful, let me tell you. So can you just imagine 2 sets? And she has a thriving business, which she quickly pivoted during the pandemic. She went from making these beautiful artisanal handcrafted bags to creating masks, and for donating many to those who were in need. And of course, for kids and adults alike. So tune into this very special episode with my chat with Marissa. Enjoy. There are many heroes that have made a substantial impact during the global pandemic. Veterans of sustainable product manufacturing, co-founders Marissa and Adam Goldstein, who founded Rafi Nova, named after their 2 sets of twins and travel partners, Raya, Effie, Noah, and Eyva, quickly pivoted their business to give back. Known for their handcrafted bags, they began making 100% cotton face masks and donated 150,000 masks to frontline workers. Rafi Nova is a social enterprise on a mission to create products that meet the ever-changing needs of families while connecting global communities. Founded as a fair trade fashion brand to equip adventurous families with sustainably made travel bags, the company shifted focus to make face masks to solve the urgent needs of families and communities in the here and now. Prior to launching Rafi Nova, Marissa and her husband Adam worked in the sustainable product manufacturing industry. After earning an MBA at Babson University, Marissa and her family of 4 at the time split their time in Vietnam and Boston. While in Vietnam in 2017, Marissa noticed a group of Hmong women who were selling handmade clothes made from brightly colored textiles. Goldstein felt compelled to tell these people's stories and incorporate it into her business. I can't wait to delve into this. Marissa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. Well, let's start with your childhood, because I just love kind of getting the backstory. Was traveling just, very prominent in your life from a young age?
Yes, it was. So I grew up right outside of Boston in a suburb called Needham. I am a middle child, older sister, younger brother. And one of the best things that my parents instilled in me is a love of travel, a love of community, and a love of giving back. Maybe this sounds cliche, but there's a Jewish term called tikkun olam, which translates to repairing the world. And all through growing up, my mother always pushed me and always talked about tikkun olam and giving back. And I sort of brought these 2 together. And so I would always find travel opportunities through middle school, high school, and through college, where I would join different clubs and nonprofits. They all had opportunities to go overseas and do different service projects or different kinds of volunteer work. So I really fell in love with traveling and adventure, and then connecting and meeting communities near and far.
That is incredible. I love that. And I feel like it really just shapes your view of the world when you're kind of exposed to that in your childhood and having that empathy for others.
For sure. I should actually add that I met my husband. We've been married for 12 years now, and I met him junior year of high school. And we both took a semester abroad in high school. Mm-hmm. We were on the same program, but a month apart. And then the day that we met, we were both signed up to do a gap year between high school and college on the same program. So he also grew up with these, similar sentiments and the love of travel. And so our lives have really been all about that.
Wow. So what are some of the career milestones that you can share with us?
Sure. So I was starting to think about this, and it's funny. I feel I sort of forgot about my earlier I guess, career milestones. And it was kind of fun to think of. The first few that really stand out was right out of college, I joined a public relations firm in Boston called Rasky Bearline. And it was run by the late Larry Rasky, who actually passed away due to COVID in early March. And he was the first person who I think he really saw something in me and really believed in me, or at least I felt that way, and really like saw my potential and brought me on board fresh out of college. And under his leadership, I had so many early career milestones, whether it was leading a delegation lobbying around Capitol Hill or traveling to Serbia, where I was working with like the Serbian Economic Fund. I forget the exact name. I also like worked lobbying in Massachusetts, overturning this like major moratorium. But later on, I got to attend Babson to get my MBA 2013 to 2015. And while I was at Babson, I co-founded a social enterprise that created and sold solar systems in rural India. And I actually got to go to Bangalore for almost 2 months, where we really kickstarted this. And that was a huge, I guess, milestone, and something also really got me into social entrepreneurship. And that is something that really stands out in my mind. And then, of course, we're here now at Rafi Nova. And, you know, my husband and I, for the last couple of years, we had our own company, a sourcing and manufacturing firm that helped U.S. companies make products overseas in Vietnam. And it was really just the two of us, and we had a few employees on the ground in Vietnam. But this is the first time in my career where I now have a team of over, I think it's now 32 or 33 people under my leadership. And I've had to take on, and I know you were asking about milestones, this isn't necessarily a milestone, but, you know, take on so much new responsibility and new things that I've never been exposed to before. So I don't know, I guess that's not a particular milestone, but it stands out in my mind.
Yes. No. It absolutely is. I feel like, you know, you can't connect the dots going forward. And this is, you know, one that's just really, really impactful. How did you land in Vietnam and getting to know the Hmong people and tribe? Like how did that came to be? Was it a trip that you took for fun and then...
Yep. Great question. So right after I got my MBA at Babson, I had joined for 2 years prior to that, this solar startup in India, and realized around the time I was graduating that it wasn't the right fit, and ended up leaving that startup. And my husband had his own company, and it was a manufacturing firm that wanted to help US companies diversify from China. And so one time, I think, forget what year it was, but we did a 6-month around the world trip a few years before that. And we fell in love with Vietnam. And we wanted to figure out a way to start a company in Vietnam so that we could go and live over there. And so the company is called Timrun. And upon graduating from Babson and learning I was pregnant with our first set of twins, I decided to join my husband. And we figured, you know, I had the sales and marketing, he had the manufacturing, and that we would just get it started. And so we would travel back and forth between Boston and Vietnam. The day after our first set of twins' first birthday, we moved to Vietnam. We thought we would stay 3 to 6 months, and we stayed 18 months. And then that turned into 4 years of going back and forth. But while we were in Vietnam, we would travel all the time, every weekend, every holiday. There's a lot of Asian holidays, so there was a lot of traveling. And we always wanted to travel off the beaten path. And it was really important to us that as we went on these journeys, that we really tried to connect with, you know, the community around us. And so we were actually on a trip to Sapa, which is in northern Vietnam. You have to take an overnight train and then a bus, and it's in the mountains, and it's really remote. We had, I think at that time, 18-month-old twins. So a bit crazy of a journey doing that.
Yes.
But we got to know the Hmong women, the Hmong tribe. There's something like 55 or 56 different ethnic tribes in Vietnam. This is one of them, and it's the biggest. And they were selling us tchotchkes of like their textile on different clothing, dresses, and then like little, you know, elephants and things like that. And I was really struck by this textile. We wanted to figure out a way that we could help support these women, preserve this art craft that's going extinct because the new generation, you know, isn't really into, they're moving to the cities, and they're not, a lot of this is being replaced by machines.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we wanted to find a way to support them, tell the story, preserve it. And we just figured, oh my God, there must be a huge market out there that would love this on like modern products that we could sell in the US. And so that was always in the back of our head. And we really spent time getting to know these Hmong women. And that's when we decided a little while later to start Rafi Nova, and that we would utilize these textiles. And so we went on a lot of trips to a lot of different areas where there were Hmong women and tried to really get to know the community there. these women were so different than us. They lived in these huts. Every single aspect of their life was different, except the way that they cared for their children and the love that they had for their children and this journey of motherhood. And yes, it's still very, very different, but we wanted to find a way to connect and show that, like, yes, we're all different, but we all have the same values and want the same things for our children.
Yes, yes. What was it like when you found out that you were having twins and then the second time?
And then twins again?
Yes.
I have to say, having two sets of twins or even one set of twins has prepared me for entrepreneurship and really like taught me everything I do in my daily work. It's like, it goes back to being a mom of multiples, which you have experience in, and we can get into that in a little while. But my husband and I, by choice, we waited a pretty long time. We got married, I think I was 22. We had the first set of twins when I was turning 30. So by choice, we waited. And then it was a spontaneous pregnancy, found out we were having twins. We were super excited. My husband's mother was an identical twin. She passed away shortly after our wedding, and we thought it was wonderful. You know, everyone said, oh, when you have twins, you're going to stop traveling. And I think, you know, by the time our twins were potty trained, and they potty trained pretty early, they had gone to 20 countries. And then we decided when they were, you know, around 2 years old, we were ready to go for a third. And we were so excited to have a singleton. And we thought, you know what, we'll just throw this baby on our back and we'll go travel everywhere. And sure enough, we found out we were having twins again. And I'm sure you can imagine what thoughts went through our minds.
Yes.
They were somewhat negative at the beginning.
A lot of emotions.
And then we love them very dearly. But yes, 4 children is a lot.
Running a business comes with a lot of what ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Hi, it's Eyva Longoria, and let's be real. After 40, we should ask for more from our skincare. I swear by Revitalift Triple Power Moisturizer by L'Oréal Paris. With vitamin C, pro-retinol, and hyaluronic acid, it reduces my wrinkles, firms, and brightens. And it's not a procedure. It's just a hardworking moisturizer.
Revitalift Triple Power Moisturizer by L'Oréal Paris. Grab it today in fragrance-free or with SPF 30. Available at your local Walmart.
It is. Okay. You know, I want to know how you did it. Were you baby wearing? Did you, schlep a double stroller?
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
From day one, and I'm probably the opposite than some people, but I was scared to death to be home with them by myself. Whereas I was not afraid at all to be out and about. And I felt like if we were out and about, we just I don't know, the day was more exciting. That part didn't scare me. It scared me to be in the house and just have to entertain and do things. And so my husband and I, we also we've always had a very laid back attitude. It worked with traveling. Yes, it's hard. And yes, we'd have disasters and a lot of sleepless nights, but for us, it was all worth it. And we just got it down, and we were, great at packing and great at going. We always wore the babies. We always, we figured out how to eat on the go with young kids, whether it's plain rice, plain noodles, meaning we didn't always have all the snacks, but we adapted. Yes. We weren't picky about the kind of diapers they were wearing, so we could buy locally. Little things like this, we just let it go. As a mom of multiples, we always tried to stick to a schedule, but we weren't married to the schedule, which was great because it gave us flexibility. But for sure, with feedings and things, we had schedules. So yeah, we got it down pretty well.
I'm just in awe. You just brought the kids along.
I want to say we did it responsibly. We would go to remote areas, but I would always know where the closest hospital was. And I had, emergency supplies with me, but that is really scary for a lot of people, me included. But I think my husband and I learned to just really set our expectations low, and then we would always be pleasantly surprised. And this is just the lifestyle that we adapted to. And I think once you do it, you kind of rip off the Band-Aid and you stop really worrying about how other people are going to necessarily judge your parenting. Right. I mean, that never fully goes away, of course, but I don't know. It worked for us. Then so we had the second set of twins.
Yeah. And then you're
no, we still did it. We brought them to Vietnam. The plane ride is hell. The jet lag is hell. But that there's a rainbow on the other side.
Yeah. And then, you know what? At the end of the day, you are raising kids that are so beyond probably resilient and adaptable and nimble and right? Because they're being exposed to these circumstances and situations that a child at their age would otherwise not be.
Yeah, actually, just want to add to a point of that. Yes, it's great for our children and it makes them more like globally minded citizens and whatnot. It's actually great for a parent because I learned, like I was saying, with this like flexibility and adaptability, it changes your parenting as well. Because I sort of, not that I let everything go, but it made me a better parent by being more adventurous and go with the flow and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So now let's get into Rafi Nova. I love how it's kind of your way to pay homage to your 4 kids. Tell us about how you started with, the first line of products and, quickly pivoted.
So I mentioned earlier that my husband and I had a manufacturing and sourcing agency. Our specialty was bag manufacturing. So we manufactured for some of the top companies making like backpacks, duffel bags, that type of stuff. So our expertise in manufacturing combined with our, expertise of traveling with children, we would be traveling all the time. We kept thinking, why don't we have our own brand that encompasses all of this? And so that's really how Rafi Nova was born. As you mentioned at the beginning, it's named after our 4 children. And the whole idea behind the whole mission of Rafi Nova is to unite parenthood around the world and community and to give back and have an impact and create really, really quality products that enable you to go out on these adventures. So we spent about a year designing our first product line. We moved back to Vietnam to do this. We traveled from village to village and we purchased these gorgeous handmade textiles from the Hmong women at fair trade costs, learned their story, created all this marketing material to tell the story. Then we oversaw all the development and production of our first line of products, which includes a vegan backpack. Originally, it was a diaper bag, but we turned it into a very versatile backpack that has all the functionality of a diaper bag, but is in no way or looks like a diaper bag. And then some pouches and some crossbody bags. We moved back to Boston January 30th, 2020, because we wanted to be there for the launch of our company and COVID was spreading across Southeast Asia. We never once thought that it was going to spread in the US. And we, along with much of the population, I don't know what we were thinking, but we officially launched Rafi Nova on February 16th, 2020. And we were wondering why none of the press wanted to talk about our travel backpack that unites communities around the world. Well, there was a pandemic starting. Yeah. And we probably launched a travel bag accessories company at the worst time in history to launch such a thing. So all that marketing, all that branding, it all went out the window because it was so irrelevant and inappropriate to what was happening in the world. So, 2 weeks after launch, there was a stay-at-home order in Massachusetts and we were pretty down. We had spent not only all of our life savings, but, we took out loans to fund, making up these backpacks and accessories is pretty expensive. And so we had a lot of money in inventory and a lot of inventory just sitting there. Right. So we were pretty down, but we always try and see the glass, half full as opposed to half empty. And I knew that, these bags didn't necessarily have a shelf life and it was going to be okay. At some point we could sell these products. We wanted to figure out a way we could help our community and do something with our time. Yes, we were busy with 4 kids at home, but professionally, we wanted to figure something out. We knew we weren't going to make any money, but we thought, let's figure out a way we can make an impact. So for the past 4 years of living in Vietnam, we've been wearing masks every single day because of air pollution. So we are one of the few Americans that actually had really tremendous experience with masks. And we knew how to make not how to make, but how to wear, what it takes for a good kid's mask, a good adult mask, etc. We called up our manufacturing partners at our factories who were hurting because everyone was canceling orders. And we said, hey guys, we were wondering, do you think you can make masks? And they said, we can make them tomorrow. So they turned over their production lines from making bags and clothing to making masks. Mm-hmm. We decided to launch a crowdfunding campaign to donate 10,000 masks to frontliners. This was all out of a sense of service and not out of nothing to make money, no business opportunity. We partnered up with iFund Women and launched a crowdfunding campaign. And within a few days, word spread. This was like March 27th. And everyone was like, can you sell us masks? We need masks. And so we put up a photo on our website. It wasn't even a high quality, we had like no website traffic, but I put it up on our website. I posted on my personal Facebook page. I posted on our town Facebook page. And I said, we have masks for sale. Woke up the next morning and we had $25,000 in orders. And mind you, we had no distribution plan because, we were like, selling the backpacks and going to the post office and putting them in a box.
Right.
So within a few days, word really spread. It was organic. It went viral. We had so many orders. I decided, really quickly, I knew, take all this profit and hire good people and let's get some help here. Hired a publicist and hired a digital marketing agency. So we set up, first we worked in our garage, then there was like too much going on. We set up a huge tent in our driveway, and then we just kept growing and growing and growing. And there were so many orders. And I mean, it all sounds wonderful, but there's a lot of things that go in the back end of that. So we were hiring local college kids from our town who were home from school. And we erected this 1,000-square-foot tent in my parents' driveway, which they had a big driveway. We had all these people helping us, and we were socially distancing, of course. So like we had to deal with all that. And we were getting the orders out the door and, rushing to the post office like 3 times a day with all these packages. And that was really the start of Rafi Nova. And we never, expected to be in the mask industry. And, our company will live on way beyond masks. But the masks, while they're not the initial product line that we had envisioned, they totally go with our mission, which is having an impact and connecting community.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so commendable that you donated $150,000 to frontline workers. So even that kind of mission is just really, really wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. That's like a huge part of our business. And, I feel like we can never say no, which may be a fault of ours, but anyone who was in need, like schools, businesses, homeless shelters, different hospitals, and just individuals who are frontliners that would ask, we always, and we continue to give.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's hard to start a business from scratch regardless, but you did it in a pandemic and you quickly pivoted. What are some lessons you've learned through that?
It's hard to continue to grow a business through a pandemic as you pivot. Some lessons, some things I really like to tell people, and I think it really keeps you grounded, is nothing is ever as great as it seems. Nothing is ever as bad as it seems as well. Yes, you have all these sales, and one day you feel like you're on top of the world. And then the next day you feel like you're at rock bottom and, everything is failing, and what are you going to do? And I think it's important to just stay grounded and realize when things are really, really bad, yes, they could be really, really bad, but they're probably not as bad as you think. And things are probably not as wonderful as they may seem to be. And moderation is key. Another thing that I learned is, and we never would have pivoted with this, is that perfection, I think, is the enemy. And especially being in a startup and being an entrepreneur, you can't wait for things to be perfect, or else there's just never going to be that time. And you have to be okay with mediocrity. Do I want to, send out a product to a customer that's mediocre? No, everything I want to be super high quality, and I want things to be as close to perfect as possible. But you have to be okay with 70, 80% of giving yourself. That probably didn't come out so well. You want to give 110%. But what I mean is just things can't always be perfect. And you need to figure out the best path to go on, knowing that. So that's something that I learned. I also learned that you need to surround yourself with really strong, positive people. Not only should you bring on to your team people that are smart, but you should bring on people that are fun to be around because you're with these people. And that's important, but that you can't do it all yourself. It takes a team. It takes an army. You need to surround yourself with good people and be super humble.
Yes. That's really, really great advice. What is it like working with your husband in this capacity? Because I feel like that is a unique dynamic as well. Usually there's separate lives in here.
Yeah. Oh man.
Family and the home life come into it.
It's really hard and it's really beautiful sometimes. And sometimes it's terrible. And actually at our office, which we're in person because we do all the fulfillment ourselves. So we need to be here at the office. We actually share this really small office because of COVID. We didn't want to share it with anyone else. And we're with, we're 100% partners 24/7, at home it's with the kids and at work. It's really challenging. What I love about it is that when you have a co-founder and a partner in a business, you need to have 100% trust in that person. And it's almost like a marriage, And so I trust my husband completely. And it's funny, he always seems to be right. So he'll point out things that I'm doing that I could improve upon, but I get so mad at him and I'm like, no. And then no, I do listen to him. He knows me so well and he's always ends up being right. So I try now to take his advice, but I don't always make him know that he's right. But it's really important to find a balance. A friend in Vietnam many years ago taught us to try and do date night once a week. And it doesn't mean that we're going to a fancy restaurant, and especially in COVID, that is not the case. Sometimes it's even having a beer or a seltzer or something like that, in our office and spending a half an hour just without the kids, without work. I say our office because it's our only place to get away that's socially distancing without our children. But we really hold that to, and it's really important for our relationship. I feel all we talk about most of the time is, besides that 30 minutes, is kids and work. And it's a really hard balance.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Komm du noch?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify, spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Marqeta. When it comes to your payments provider, you can't afford to compromise. Marqeta's modern payment solutions flex with your business without the trade-offs. Stable and agile, secure and innovative, scalable and configurable. If they say you can't have it all, don't believe them. Your business demands more. Choose a payments provider that delivers more. Choose Marqeta. Visit marqeta.com/Spotify to learn more.
Yes, I have tried the masks and my kids have too, and I love them. They are super soft. Yep. And I love that they're made from 100% cotton and they're breathable fabric. And more than that, they're adjustable. That is like the one thing that I found to be so brilliant because, of course, early on, I ordered whatever mask I could online and the ear loops never fit. Yeah, so it's great that you thought of the adjustable ear loops so that they stay snug.
And now you'll see nowadays, like most companies are catching up onto that because it is an important feature. You know, you don't want your ears constantly pulling. Another important feature is the nose wire. So you can make it fit to your face better. And that will also cause less fog to your glasses. And the last thing that's really important is the fabric and the number of layers. So people are talking about like a candle test where you put on your mask and if you can blow out a candle, your mask is not effective. With our masks, they're all 3 layers. They used to actually be 4 layers. You cannot blow out that candle. So they're very effective from a COVID standpoint, and they're also comfortable. And, you know, I'm in the office all day. I wear my mask probably like 18 hours a day. And yes, masks are annoying after that time, but ours are pretty comfortable for a mask.
Yeah, it's true. One further point is that you have the clear masks. And I think that that's really kind of important to note because teachers, you know, especially when you're teaching really young kids, clear masks are great because that way the kids can see what you're saying and see your lips move. So that's right. Is that what?
Yep. I'll touch upon that real quick. So in the early days of the garage and the driveway, the very early days, I'm someone who was always smiling and I was laughing with all these people that were working with us. And I was like, I'm smiling right now, but you can't see it because I'm wearing a mask. Well, one of the people that was helping us was a speech and language pathologist. And she was talking about how masks are so difficult for people that rely on lip reading. Yeah. And we, you know, contacted our partner factory who's like so innovative and always wants to try new things with us. And we talked about the need for a clear panel on a mask. And within 2 weeks, we had maybe like 10 prototypes. We had sent it out to like 500 people and we got a product that we were happy with. We thought that the market wasn't that large. We thought it was for people that were deaf and hard of hearing. But little did we know there was such a massive market in the education industry that needed these masks. Little kids rely on facial cues and visual communication in order to grow and to learn. And so our masks, we launched these like in the beginning of June, and over like July and August, they literally went viral. Like teachers were posting about them and sharing it like hundreds of thousands of times. And schools from all over the country were contacting us with purchase orders. And we didn't even have a sales team that were going out trying to sell these masks. And it was almost like not every school, but a lot of schools have purchased and worn the Smile mask. People love them. I mean, I'll be honest, it's not a great mask to wear like all day. It's not great to wear outside, but it really serves a purpose inside for, certain periods of time. And I just say that because it is a piece of plastic over your mouth with 3 layers of fabric, and it will fog and form condensation if worn for like a long duration or changing temperatures. But for what it is a fantastic product. That's extremely useful.
Yes, that's so great. You know, any hacks when traveling with kids, you know, anything that you kind of learned along the way, especially since you went to these remote areas and like for parents who are eager to take their kids on a hiking trip, it's definitely doable. What do you say that they should kind of pack or prepare
I have so many hacks, and I feel like I haven't thought about them in like 9 months now because we really haven't traveled at all since COVID. So I need to brush them off. But my biggest piece of advice when traveling with kids is don't overpack. The worst feeling is like being suffocated by all your crap, even like getting on the plane and just having like too many bags and needing the kids, holding the kids and whatnot. So don't overpack. Another hack of mine and many others is packing cubes. They're life-changing, life-saving. So I have like cubes for each kid or each set of twins. And I'm super strategic and organized about like how I pack those cubes. So then when we get places, you don't necessarily have to like unpack everything. You unpack the cubes. Laundry bags, also a great hack, not really a hack. It's, but being able to nicely separate clean clothes from dirty clothes is key. But I think, the overall mindset of just like, you have to set your expectations low. You can't have this like perfect picture in your head because you're traveling with kids and it's never going to happen the way that you intend it to. And you need to be able to go with the flow. Don't overplan, plan enough that like, it's around you. But again, if you overplan and overschedule, you're going to have tired, whiny kids. You're going to be pissed and disappointed, rushing from things, place to place. So take it slow, take it easy, and set those expectations low and just try and enjoy. Know that like, you're not going on a spa vacation. You're not going to, it's not going to be peaceful, but like you're doing it. So for you, you're doing it for your kids, and just have an open mind.
Yeah. And for the experience and memories. Amazing. What about just twin advice? I feel like we want to make sure that, especially if you are a mom of multiples or twins, triplets, what have you, that their personalities and individuality is nurtured. So how do you do that?
So actually, first, I just wanted to say some not that I'm like, I am a twin expert because I do have 2 sets now. I do have a lot of twin experience, but I can't say I know everything. I definitely don't. You have to remember, first of all, that like everything is a stage, and this too shall pass. And you go through stages of like 6, 8, 12 weeks of not sleeping, but like it will pass. There'll be a period when you can sleep. Don't worry. And so just remember everything's a stage, and like try not to just constantly rush through it. Like our first set of twins, I was always waiting for the next stage. And the second set of twins, I got to kind of enjoy it a little bit more because I knew like, okay, let's enjoy this stage before we get to the next stage. So that was one thing. Another thing that I learned was that you need to like be okay with asking for help. My husband and I, we've been like business partners through our entire twin journey. And we've worked for ourselves. So we've had the liberty and the privilege of being able to really co-parent because we were, each other's bosses. And so I had him all along. I can't imagine doing it alone. And I commend those that are able to, but don't be afraid to ask for help. If you do have that village and that support, use it. People generally want to help, not always, but, and be specific about what you need help with, whether it's just like, don't expect, if your mother-in-law comes over, she's going to know to like empty the dishwasher and do the laundry, but give people specific tasks. And I think being a mom of multiples has really just taught me that, like I've talked about this whole time, of just like setting those expectations low, like moderation is key, and enjoy the process. And that's really shaped like how we were able to pivot and like run this business. And so it's prepared me a lot for that.
Yes. Yes. Tell us about a mom sense moment that you've had. And, as you know, the show called That's Total Mom Sense. And that just means times where we inherently trust our superpower of intuition. So I'm sure you do this all day, every day, but is there one kind of anecdote that you can share where you're like, I went with my mom sense on this one and it steered us on the right path?
Okay, I don't know if this is the greatest example, but when our twins were first born and everyone said, like, you're not going to travel, you're going to be stuck home, like, you need to stay home, you need to do this. Like, my intuition and everything about me was saying, like, no, we need to get out, we need to explore, like, we need to stay true to who we are. And so we really didn't listen to anyone else or our family. And we lived the last four years of just like this life of adventure and traveling. That has really been like what I think is best for me as a mom and best for my children.
Wow. I love it. I love that you're living your truth, and, your kids are just even better for it, having parents like you who are doing that.
Let's not forget our quote of the day.
Is there a quote that you live by?
The quote that I live by is everything in moderation, including moderation. It was said by Oscar Wilde, and I love it. And I always go back to it.
That's so fun. I love it.
It's now time for Mom Haul, when we share products we love.
Outside of Rafi Nova, is there any product or app or really anything that you are just loving right now that you want to share with the audience?
My favorite baby product, which I'm still using with my nearly 3-year-olds, is my Becco carrier. And we have like 6 of them, and we're really into baby wearing, as you have to be when you're a mom of multiples and then a mom of 2 sets of twins. And so I bring that thing everywhere, and I even carry the 5-year-olds. And it really keeps us sane and allows us to be relatively hands-free. So I love that product.
Wow. And then it definitely strengthens the bond between, parent or caregiver and baby, for sure.
Actually, it's great. I put my little one, my youngest, who's a bit of a handful, and she's the hardest out of all of them. I stick her on my back, actually. So no, I don't have to strengthen the bond. I put her on my back, and now she just looks out, and I don't have to deal with her front and center. No,
that's so funny. I want to give a shout out to a brand that is also sustainable, also founded by a mom. It's called Living Loudly. And she's a fellow Hey Mama. Shannon is her name. And it's a product that I love and my kids can't get enough of. She has t-shirts that are made of 100% cotton and bamboo fibers that have a fun character on the front. You get it delivered to you in a capsule. And there's a story that you read to your kids about the character on seed paper that you can rip up into pieces and plant and watch wildflowers grow. So it's such a thoughtful, experiential brand. And I feel all parents should know about it and support it.
And I second that, because I was recently introduced to Shannon, the owner of Living Loudly, through another Hey Mama. And I love her and her story and her mission and the product. And I think everyone should check it out. And it's just so thoughtful. And I think it really stands out from others, in the market. And I definitely applaud that company and recommend it.
Yes. Now we want to know where we can find Rafi Nova.
So you can find Rafi Nova on our website, www.rafinova.com. You can check us out on Instagram at rafinova_go. And you can also follow our crazy family adventures on our Instagram account, which is Twins on the Go X2.
Amazing.
It was Twins on the Go, and then it was Twins on the Go X2.
Yeah, have to. Oh my gosh, Marissa, it was so wonderful getting to know you and the backstory of Rafi Nova and how you're helping make this world a better place with your work. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for helping to tell my story and tell other people's stories. And we have that immediate connection as being a mom of multiples, a mom of twins. So I think we'll be ingrained with that forever. So
yes.
Much.
No, I know. I cherish that bond that we have. It's amazing. We're in it's like a deeper connection that you and I share that I love. Thank you for listening to my episode with Marissa, founder and CEO of Rafi Nova. I just find it to be so incredible and inspiring that she has 2 sets of twins, and she is so unapologetic about having them be raised as global citizens. And she's living it by traveling with them everywhere and running a business and showing them all the things that a mother is capable of. I do have an exclusive code. So to receive 20% off on Rafi Nova products, and this is bags and masks for both adults and kids, you can use my promo code MOMSENSE20 in all caps. And if you haven't already, subscribe to be part of my community wherever you listen, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, Spotify, Google, Good Pods. We are everywhere, and I'm so, so proud of what That's Total Mom Sense community has built. And I'm just excited to engage with you and, be a part of your life even more this year. Remember, always trust your mom sense. Stay strong, super mamas. See you next time. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing New Year's Eve. Be safe, stay indoors, social distance, all that jazz, what we've been doing all year long. Here's to 2021, a year where we can start anew. Maybe a lot of it won't change, but it's all about mind over matter, right? So we're going to start 2021 off on the right foot. And I'm so happy to have you in my tribe helping me. Thank you, guys. Remember, always trust your mom sense. Stay strong, super mamas. See you in 2021.
That's total mom sense.